All right, guys, we're getting ready to do our next painting. This is actually a 30 by 40 inch, and it's a big one, but we're gonna really have fun on this one. So we're gonna do our last painting with you guys on a very large canvas, and we're going to do a design that's really, really pretty too, just elegant. And it's gonna be kind of this one here, going across the canvas, and it's going to be very whimsical. It will have a focal point, and it's just going to go very nice and whimsical across it. So therefore, I think you'll be able to hang it in any direction. That's what we're going to do on this big canvas today. We're going to be laying down a bright white house interior. This is the PPG house interior paint that I'll be using today. And my color choices are going to be more on the warm side with warm tones. We've got some gold, bronze, some greens, a little bit of black. So I think those colors are all going to look really pretty together, kind of mesh together nicely. Should be able to go into any home. I want it very organic feeling, very earthy feeling. So I am gonna get started right away. This is a very large container of white paint, so I'm going to, until I can pick it up and feel comfortable about pouring it out of this container. As you can see, it's nice and drippy. I'm going to just use a container to kind of dip it out of this larger container and pour it on. Be kind of messy. Let's see if I can't get this, and I'll be able to wipe my hands off in a little bit. So I'll just start over here. It's going to take a lot of paint, probably most of what's in here, so I'm not going to worry about how I put it on right away. I just want to get it on the canvas right away and enabling me to actually pick it up without spilling it everywhere. I think we're about ready to get our design started, and it should come out really pretty on this big canvas. We're looking at starting out our design with the black. I'm going to outline my design, and I really wanted the black to give it a whole lot of depth in this painting. And I have some lime green. This is a pearl lime green. This is the mixture that I made up. I did use it in one of the last paintings that we did, but I really like this color, and I think it'll just add a really nice brightness to this mixture of colors and some sheen to it. So that's that aqua, I'll call it an aqua pearlescence. And this is a white iridescent, a gold, and a bronze. That's my color choice. They're more on the warmer side. There are a couple of cool colors, like this green is a cool color. Meaning on versus the warm side, it's a cool. Not only is it a cool color, but it's a cool color. All right, so we'll start off with our black, and I'll start my design from this corner to that corner. Yeah, I think that's the best way. And I'm going to begin by putting my focal point in the middle, because this is not a square, and I know I've shared that we don't normally want to put our focal point in the middle, but it's not a square, it's a different shape, it's a rectangle. So because I want to join my design, I'm going to give me a guide. I'll be putting the center right there. See if I can reach. I want to stay away from the edge. So almost like an S, a little S. And then I'm going to take it like that. That. Like that. And then I think I'm going to have one going out like that. Little leaves going out. Now I'm in the process of just kind of creating those little branch-like elements to give that blowout a little bit more depth, wideness of how I blow out my, otherwise they just become more straight, and it's harder to blow it out if you don't have that paint there. And this just gives it a little bit more oomph to be able to blow it out. Kind of spreads out the paint a little bit more. Now the design will be a little different than what I have on here, but I got the idea and the stretch across the canvas, and that's what I really wanted to begin with. Make these look like leaves. I like to stagger them too. It just fills in those holes. Then you can step back and say, okay, does it look good? Doesn't always have to look symmetrical, but is the overall design okay? Am I going to be able to utilize what I have on this canvas to be able to blow out something pretty? And then work with it when I incorporate the botanical technique to it. So I think we'll be able to. This way. We're almost done designing and then we can get going. But it's critical that you get your design the way you want it before you begin. Okay. We'll go with that. So now on to the next color, finally. It's going to be a lot of paint, but we need it. It's a big, big painting. So have fun, just to be creative. The number of designs are unlimited, right? You can just have fun. The key is to make sure that your consistency of your paint is right, your design is right, you have your tools available and right at your side so you're prepared. And then you just let your mind and your creativity come out and play. It's fluid art. It's going to have a mind of its own for the most part. But if you can help influence and help you and your viewers see something that you can imagine, allowing your eyes to visibly see something that maybe you're familiar with, something that you're used to seeing maybe out in nature, and yet it's not all the way there, but you're allowing your mind and your eyes to just wander and be more imaginative. That in itself looks pretty cool with just black and that beautiful bright green. That's so cool. Let's see. I was going to go in with this color. And then this color. Yeah. We'll just stick with the way I laid out the plan. I haven't done these colors together, so I'm not familiar with even the slightest of what it's going to look like. All new, but I'm not afraid to try different combinations because that's how I like to learn what works. And I know this is a big canvas and a big risk if you haven't tried the colors on a smaller canvas. I do recommend, if you're still learning about how to play with your colors and how to do fluid art, I recommend trying on smaller canvases. You can have a similar effect with, of course, with the color mixing, but you can also play with different designs as well to see what you like the best. There's our next layer. A lot of paint, but we need it, right? Here's a nice bright, it's like that turquoise. Nice little turquoise stripe down there. I'm sure that black really got lost. I could sprinkle a little bit more black on top. It kind of sank. Sometimes your colors sink, and they sink because they're heavier. But when you blow it, they do surface more too, so up to you how much you want your paints to show and in different areas to show. I know I didn't mention it in the area of my materials that are essential to creating fluid art, but I thought I'd mention it right now, and that is, if you're not willing to get obviously your clothes messy, because you will get them messy, it's just good to have a nice little apron you can put over your clothes. I'm wearing some old clothes anyways, but it is good to have just a nice little apron to cover up everything in case you need to wipe your hands off like I often do. All right, so looking good on the colors. That's out of the way. We're going to splash in just a little brightness with the iridescent white. I like to just sometimes wiggle along the same lines. Gives a little bit of variety instead of just straight on top of each other. This will give it nice shine too. You can tell I'm not being super careful about how I'm laying the paint down, and the reason being is it blends so nicely when you're blowing it. And I want that all mixed together and swirling, and some of it creates cells, some of it doesn't. Just automatically. I don't put anything in my paints to create cells, but I do get some cells. And I don't mind it every now and then. I see another little bubble right there. I like to get those little bubbles. I feel like if I don't get those big bubbles, then I'm going to hide them when I'm blowing out my paint, and they'll just surface at a later date when they're good and ready. I want to help with the process of popping them right away. I think it's looking pretty good now. Now we've got some gold. I love some gold. Gold has been one of my favorite colors to add to my paintings. It just really adds a beautiful sheen to it, some richness to your paintings. It warms them up sometimes. And gold's pretty popular right now, so I'm okay with that. People are loving gold. I do like silver too, but with silver I feel like I definitely prefer silver with only specific colors. I hope this turns out really pretty. It's going to be a lot of doing the botanical technique on this piece, but I feel like it's really going to add to it. make it come to life. All right, I think I got the gold on there. Woo, my arms get a little tired. I didn't work out today, but I'm getting my workout now, I feel like. I see a little spot. Okay, got it. Now with the bronze. I don't use a lot of bronze, but I do like when I do use it. So I thought I would include the bronze a little bit. It'll definitely warm it up some. Don't want to use a whole lot. So I'm trying not to squeeze too much out. Being more careful with not squeezing out as much. Because I don't want this bronze to, make it dark. Hopefully the black didn't get too lost. I feel like it might have gotten a little bit lost. Maybe just a tad bit of black through this. It gives it that striking look. Just need that balance, I think. All right, guys, that's a lot of paint. I think I better stop with the paint and start blowing this out to see what a beautiful piece we're making together. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into it and wish us luck on blowing this out. So let me get my blow dryer. All right, I have my blow dryer and I think I'm about ready to get this started. Wish me luck. I'm going to start in the middle and work my way around. And I'm following the arrows. And I think on this piece, I know exactly how to blow it out. So here we go. I'm making sure I'm aiming my mouth of my blow dryer at that nice angle just to keep on that same angle instead of going down like this. So I'm going at an angle like this, okay? Nice even flow. Keep moving it. Having those little branches, like I said, it really helps. Then you don't get that zigzag look on your canvas. looking really good. I'm trying my left hand. I don't like it as well as my right. Wow, 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 wow. I'm a little giddy because this really does look so cool. The colors are amazing together. I'll have to admit, I don't really see the bronze at all. Wow, it does look so cool. These colors, it's not what I had pictured at all, but I do like it so much. Wow, it's got some pretty cells coming up too. Actually very complementary within the overall picture. I actually do like them. I have a little place right there that I'm probably not as happy about, which I can take care of. So I'm going to do that right now. Try to not drag myself in the paint while I do it. Just wanted to round it out a little bit. Didn't make it as nice as I thought I could, but I still think it looks pretty. I'm really loving it. Really loving it. I'm trying to think. I don't see any other areas really that I need to touch up and blow out to round out. I think it looks really organic. And I think as I look at all of the edges from this side to this side, from this side to this side, from the diagonal, from this diagonal, I think it looks really, really cool. Now, I was going obviously by this design here, but this is the starting point of my design. The way I blow it out and how much paint you flow, this is just a starting point that gives you the idea of what you can make on your painting. So the composition obviously looks really pleasing. I think it's time to, after I pop a bubble, we can get started on doing the botanical technique to this beauty. I am so happy with how it blew out. It's amazing what you can do with a little creativity and inspiration. You can really just design and create so many beautiful paintings that we have the pleasure of seeing that beauty every day. Let's see. I am going to put my focal point right here because that's where everything is really just like zeroing in on, and I think if I do it right there, it'll really come together nicely. It looks pretty just like this, and I could leave it like this as some of them, you know, just can be pretty as they are. But because I love to take it to that next step, we're just gonna have some more fun. I feel a little messy. All right, so where do we begin? Right here with the focal point. I'm probably going to take it in going like this. I really like clockwise for some reason. All right, so take it clockwise with my focal point right here. Very cool. I saw a couple bubbles in there, which we'll try to work on those later. And then I'm going to take it right here. There's definitely a lot of paint on this canvas. And that's one thing I do want to share with you. When you do have a lot of paint on these large canvases, when you do drag, it's a lot deeper. So you are basically, if the air, if you're going to drag it too quickly, air will get trapped in those lines that you're making. And so therefore you're going to have more air bubbles too. So keep that in mind as you're doing your dragging. With it being deeper too, sometimes if you don't have that focal point really nice, then it'll be distracting. So you don't want that focal point to be a distraction. You want it to enhance. So that made it a little bit better. A little better for me, for sure. This is going to take a little while. Drag it right through here. Just working my way around. I like adding some of those littler petals around the middle. Give it a little look. A little bit of a different look, I should say. You just have to be creative. That bubble did get popped. Definitely having some bubbles. When you do big paintings like this and say there's an area that you just don't like, you can always wait till it dries, like the focal point, and maybe we just paint over the focal point to make it a lot prettier. So we may do that to this big one. And I'll show you how to do it if it doesn't come out right. If it comes out, great. We won't have to do anything, right? But I do want to be able to show you how to do stuff like that. I think it's coming out really pretty. It's getting more definition on this piece. With just the little bit I've already done, it's adding to it. And remember what I would refrain from doing when you're doing this technique is not drag over the same place more than once if you can help it. It just mixes the paint and makes those lines look just not as nice, I'll say. See how I'm dragging it and bringing it to the closest, I'll call them a stem, basically. And then I'm just kind of lightly pulling it over on top, but not dragging it through again. I think she's going to be a beauty. I'm super proud of this one. There's one little area right here that I'm not so happy with. That little doodad right there. Maybe I can blow this out just a tad bit. Yeah, I think that helped a little bit. Make it come together some. Just gotta play with it sometimes. Make like it's the edge of the leaf. Just clean it up a little bit. It makes it a little better. And then maybe I can take it and make it a little leaf like that. Yeah, there we go. You just gotta play with it sometimes. One little area. Blow that out a little bit because I'm going to round this out. See how I did that? Let's see if I can work this little tool for you. This is that little air bubble. Nah, not good to put it on that one. It just blows too much of a straight breath of air, so to speak, and I don't want that look. Yeah, I think I can make that work now. Big pieces like this take a little bit more time, don't they? Connect it right there. Yeah, that just made it a nice little leaf. Now to reach some of these. Like I said, sometimes by the way you blew it out, it really defines where you want to encourage that leaf look. As you can see what I'm doing here. Just pretty much does it for you. I hope you're loving what we're doing today. I hope this inspires you all. With colors like this, I feel like, depending on what your home interior looks like and colors you have incorporated, this would definitely add a pop of color and interest. Definitely a focal point in your room, on your walls. Wow. I think we've made it all the way around, guys. I think she's stunning. I'm super excited. I think I want to add a color in the middle of that center. And I think I'm going to go with the color here. Super happy. Let's put down that color in the middle. Not too much. feel like it needs some. Nice and gentle. All right, I think I'm good with that. I would like to have a little black dot in the middle of that one too, but I am gonna hold off. Sometimes when you know your paints are really heavy, like I feel like my black is a little bit heavy and it does sink. So I can come in after when it's all dry and I can add a little bit more to that center and I can clean it up too. So I think for now I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to let it dry. It'll probably take 3 days, 4 days to dry to where I can move it, and a good week for it to be completely dried to where if I need to or want to add more to it, I want to make sure it's just absolutely perfect before we go ahead and do that. But as far as design goes, and your composition, your color choices, we've all stayed true to all of that, and we have a beautiful painting in front of us. And so I really hope that you've enjoyed all of the different paintings from the first 12 by 24 inch, and then I went into the 16 by 20 inch, a 20 by 20 inch square, a 20 by 20 inch circle, and now this 30 by 40 inch. And you can see how different designs work well with different size canvases. And color choices obviously are extremely important and critical to allow you to have that depth that you're looking for within your paintings. And so in the next lesson, we're going to talk about the bonus that I have for you guys. So once these are all dried, we're going to take these paintings to the next level and show you some more tips and tricks that I incorporate into my own paintings, and you too can enjoy that process of continuing painting, learning, experimenting on your own paintings, and take all of them to the next level, something that you all will be very proud of. And so I'll see you in the next lesson.